Now, bringing you the very best in New Hampshire-based local music on IPMNation.com and 100.1 The Planet, this is Local Outbreak. Band Best Not Broken, and we've got a couple of guys from the band here with us. We're going to introduce Eric at the news desk. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Good to see you, Matt.
And Carlo on the couch.
Right on the couch.
How did you get the couch, by the way?
Well, there's a story there, but I'm not sure we should go into that right now.
All right.
And
leave it alone.
And who are we missing? And feel free to make up a ridiculous story about.
I suppose we could. Probably that would be better than the truth.
I think yes.
It's more fun if you come up with a story, not to put you on the spot.
Well, we're missing Mark. Mark is our bass player.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember whether he stubbed his toe or if he hurt his wrist.
It's a combination. I think he stubbed his toe while hurting his wrist.
That's probably what.
So get a visual of that,
right? Which has happened a couple times with Mark. And
Oh my!
Well, he's a very dynamic individual, and he moves around and jumps around a lot. And, a lot of times lands on his toe.
Well, that's understandable. Well,
actually, there's truth to that. I think he hurt his toe last week, right?
Yeah, it was.
So that's not all.
Well, thoughts and prayers for Mark.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, guys. By the way, now what do you guys? So Mark is the bass player. So what do you guys each do in the band?
So I sing and play the guitar. And Carlo is in charge.
Play some drums.
All percussion.
So you got it's like a power trio, basically, right?
Exactly.
But is there a fourth individual who does?
Yeah, there is. We got another guitar player that sits in with us most of the time, Anand, and
we have mystery men that do all kinds of interesting things with the band, but Anand is the most regular. Anand is our other guitar player. Gotcha.
So is Anand there only occasionally for live shows or consistently or?
Most of the time. So It sort of depends on the event. Sometimes we're in an acoustic format and it calls for a smaller thing, and sometimes it's a bigger thing, and so he does the bigger things, I guess is the way we'd most simply describe it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And how long has the band been around? Because it looks like you've got a fair amount of music online from what I saw. Looks like you've been at it for a while.
We have. Yes, a long time. Well, in this room, I'm the young member, but it's been for, more than 10 years?
Oh, yeah, for sure. To the point that we don't like the music that we first wrote.
Right.
For sure, we're trying to move on from that. But no, I think our first recordings were done in 2012.
Okay.
And the band, it started before that and sort of evolved. We actually kind of started as a cover band, playing clubs here in Manchester and around Boston and southern New Hampshire, and slowly started to work our own material into our shows, and eventually started to record that material. And so 2012 is when we started to push the original stuff, and so that's, I think, officially when we became an original band.
Okay.
Which it actually isn't as long as I thought, but
no, it seems shorter or longer. I'm not sure.
I know. But anyway, we've been doing it a while.
I always say, and I say it only half kidding, I feel like the COVID pandemic kind of created this weird time distortion thing where sometimes things that happened longer ago, they seem like they either didn't happen as long ago as they actually did, or they seem longer ago or something. It's really odd. And I run into that a lot, specifically with musicians, when we're talking about how long ago did you record this or whatnot.
Right.
And, I had a band in here recently. It was like they had just recorded something in like 2 years ago, 2021, but one of the members was convinced it was like 2018. It's just interesting how that works.
Well, COVID changed the music business so much. Live entertainment, obviously, because we weren't gathering. And so it really changed it for a lot of musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're fortunate we have other ways of paying the bills sometimes, but those that were fully dependent on, playing for a living had a really hard time.
Absolutely. And it seems like there's been some lasting changes too, because, when the pandemic started to wrap up and things opened up, all of a sudden a lot of bands are playing out again because they can, but then it's like now, I have a lot of different musicians on the show, and different people have different approaches. But some of the bands I talk to now, they're kind of like, yeah, we're doing, maybe one show a month. We're not really, gas is expensive. It's, we can do live performances in our living room and stream it, and are really kind of pulling back, which to me is interesting. And it's hard to fathom in a way because I don't play anymore, but I used to play in a lot of bands. And my thing was always, I just wanted to play out. I wanted to play as many shows as possible.
Right.
Because being on stage was my favorite thing in the world.
Sure, yeah.
I just wanted to. That's all I mean, I was in a couple bands where we probably oversaturated because we played so much.
Yeah, right.
But I wanted to be out there every weekend, and I didn't care if we were playing the same bar 2 weekends in a row, or which not a great idea necessarily, but I didn't care. And but it's interesting now. Some bands are really kind of pulling back, and then there's others who are just playing every weekend and really really trying to still push it. But
I think the period right before COVID, who knows what date that was, but that summer season, we were actually very busy.
Yeah,
we were playing a lot all over the Northeast, touring as far down as Virginia. I mean, we were very very busy, and so we were definitely gearing up for another very busy touring season, and then kapoof. Yeah. But and we certainly haven't returned to that. Like to your point, a lot of bands, musicians have not returned to that hectic schedule of playing out as much as possible, because I think we've all discovered that there's just different ways of getting the music out there for people to listen to, especially as an original band. We have to take advantage of all those methods, and those methods were proven during COVID. We were able to get music to people. We actually did a music video during COVID.
That's right,
we filmed a video, one of these, hands off, mask on kind of video things for one of our most popular songs. The name
Never Next Week.
Oh yeah, Never Next Week. And but it was actually a very clever video the way we did it, and I think it'll stand the test of time. And one could look at it and say, oh, that's how they responded during COVID, or one could look at it and say, no, that's just a cool music video.
Yeah.
It's got two different, I think, shapes to it, which is not exactly what we were going for, but it's how it turned out.
Right.
So, yeah, it definitely changed the landscape for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I always say, too, we have to, obviously, the pandemic was awful for a number of reasons, but, we have to find these silver linings where we can. And one silver lining is the timing of it. Because if it had happened 20 years ago, or even 10 years earlier than it did, we were fortunate that it happened at a time when we have all this technology.
Right.
And it kind of forced people to embrace technology in ways that they hadn't before. But some of what we were seeing, like, I saw examples of actually very famous and successful bands doing these, these streams online where they're all at home, but they're playing together,
right?
And for performances and in lieu of touring, and pretty remarkable stuff. And I feel like if this had happened 20 years ago, before we had things like Zoom and social media and everything,
you wouldn't see anything.
Probably, yeah. Career ending, probably.
Oh yeah. It would have been much worse in that sense. So we're lucky that it happened at a time when we have the technology.
Absolutely.
And, and it seems to happen about once a century. So hopefully we don't have to go through it ever again.
I hope so.
We're back, baby.
So.
Yeah. So you guys now you're playing out a lot, right? But not as much necessarily as before the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, we have different reasons. We have, families and things that we have to be respectful of, but we, like you, we love performing, and I think Best Not Broken really throughout our history has been a live band. That's kind of what we are, and unlike some other bands that they can put out material and never play and be okay with that, that's kind of not how we do it. And so we're doing as much as we can. I think we go through spells of being really busy and spells of slowing down a little bit, but that's the nature of the business. But we love every time we step on a stage.
Is summer your busiest time?
Sure is.
Usually is.
Yeah.
Usually is.
I think it starts like in May, goes through September.
Yeah.
That seems to be the season where a lot of bands are out touring, and so we're either supporting some major acts or performing on our own. I mean, I would say the last, certainly this year, and I guess last year too, right? We've kind of kept it a little more regional. We've been more in New England, I suppose, then we haven't really branched out from there yet.
Right.
But I'm not saying we won't. It's coming, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But as you said earlier, more selective, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing for us is we're in the process. There was COVID wasn't great for us in terms of producing material, and we're in the process of putting a new album out. And
excellent.
So oftentimes the performances follow the live recordings because you're out promoting those recordings. And so we just released a song like 2 weeks
couple
ago,
weeks ago,
which is the first single on our next album, which is called "If It Feels Right." EP, actually. There'll be probably 6 songs on it.
Oh, okay.
And the rest of it's coming out next month. So there'll be some shows that we do in support of that.
Yeah.
We've got a fun one coming up. We're going to be with the Smashing Pumpkins up at Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion.
Really?
In Guilford.
Yeah.
What is that? It's 2 weeks from now.
Couple
I guess,
weeks.
right?
Yep.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Yep. Thanks.
Very good.
It's funny because back in the day, we all used to listen to Smashing Pumpkins, and we still do sometimes, but our music probably back then was a lot more like them. It's evolved in a different way, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah.
The folks that are going to see Smashing Pumpkins, but we're going to have fun either way. It'll be good.
Have you guys opened for a lot of big acts that have come through?
We've been very fortunate. Yeah, we've done some good ones. I'll tell you one we did this year, which still sticks with me, is the now I forgot the name. Guess Who?
The Guess Who.
Yeah, the Guess Who.
The Guess Who.
And when that was first offered to us, I think there was some the Guess Who? Who's that again? Kind of thing. And then you queue up their collection, and their music is absolutely iconic. I mean, it defined a generation. I mean, that's
absolutely
pretty big stuff. So we were really honored to be a part of that show. That was over in Salisbury, Mass. That was a good show at the Blue Ocean Music Hall. Great venue. If you've been there, it's a wonderful venue to play and to see some music. So, every year we seem to get 3 or 4 good opening slots, which gives us an opportunity to promote ourselves and gather new fans. And sometimes we get a few, sometimes we don't. But it's a big live show, and so for us, for people to see us live, I think they really get a sense of the fun that we're having and the kind of music that we're making, and hopefully get somebody to buy a few records along the way and listen to some music. But it's been good. We've been lucky.
You guys have merch you bring to shows?
We
you
do.
Have a good amount of merch?
We just came out with a fabulous T-shirt. You know why it's fabulous? Because our pictures are on it. We've never done a T-shirt with our pictures on it.
Oh, really?
And most of the feedback we got was, what in the heck are your pictures doing on the shirt? But no, it's a good group shot. It's a funny. We actually did the photo shoot for it in Manchester.
Yeah,
right. It was here in Manchester on the old railroad tracks or somewhere up the road here, and it was a cool shot. We always liked that. It was a cool photo, right? So
yeah.
It ended up being on a shirt, and I don't know. We've sold quite a few of them, actually.
We have, and the one thing we forgot to do is bring one here today, but that's okay because we're gonna either come back or mail it to you to make sure you have it.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Yeah, it's funny. I was just reading recently about how there was a time when people in the music industry thought, in terms of merchandise, that you couldn't put for a men's shirt. For women it was different, but for men you couldn't put pictures of a male band's faces on a shirt because dudes wouldn't wear a shirt with other men's faces on it.
Interesting.
This was I'd read something, actually Rolling Stone had something about this from way back, when I was a kid, actually, when Daryl Hall and John Oates, their manager at the time, Tommy Mottola, who went on to do other things, but apparently that was a big discussion in that camp, was do we bother putting out men's shirts with Daryl and John's faces on them, because are men going to wear that?
Right.
And I guess even to this day people debate about that. But then it's funny because last week I had Andy Klasensky. I don't know if you know him. He's a singer-songwriter from the Seacoast.
Cool.
He was here, and just coincidentally, he happened to have he was wearing a Michael McDonald shirt with Michael McDonald's face on it, and I didn't even realize it. But at first, and then the subject of Michael McDonald came up, and I was like, "Oh, he's on your shirt," and then and that made me think of that whole discussion of that debate about.
I had no idea that ever happened. My favorite album cover ever was the I forget the name of the album, but it was the Police, and their 3 pictures were on it. And actually, we were sort of going for that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
On this T-shirt, we didn't quite get it, but we made it our own.
Yeah.
It's a more of a funny shirt, kind of goes with our vibe. We're having fun and, dressed in some sort of costume. And yeah, I mean, it's just a funny kind of thing. But it is funny you mentioned merchandise. It's the first time we've done something. Normally it's like some graphic, right? Like something, maybe it's the EP cover or something. But this time, we went a little outside, and I'm gonna have to think about that now. How many guys? We should do a survey to see how many guys have actually bought the shirt.
Right.
I mean,
I hope they do. Some have already, so we know it's working a little.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. I think hip hop kind of changed that stigma too of guys wearing shirts with other guys' faces.
Because, sure.
Because once hip hop started to get really big, it wasn't unusual to see somebody wearing a Snoop Dogg shirt with Snoop Dogg's actual face on it.
Right.
But
if only we were as cool as Snoop Dogg.
I know.
That's right.
I know.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
It's incredible. He never stops.
He's one of those few people who can be, he can still be edgy with his music and whatnot and the swearing and everything, but also have that side to him that's very family friendly.
Right.
I'm not sure I can think of another example of somebody quite like that who occupies that space the way that he does.
No, it's a good point. I'm not sure I can either.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Part of why I was asking about merch too is it seems like, because we were talking about playing shows and how expensive it's more expensive than it used to be to travel and so forth. And it seems like there's a push within the music industry now for everybody to really sell more merch, because it's the one thing, as far as selling your music, Spotify gives you,
big money. Yeah. Big money.
Yeah. The streaming services don't give you much. And touring, a lot of that money ends up going into your gas tank and paying for whatever else. And so it seems like merch is, because you can't download a t-shirt,
right?
At least not yet.
Right.
I thought when 3D printers came out, that was going to kill the merch thing.
Sure.
And then it just didn't happen. I'm not sure why. But I guess it's a good thing it didn't happen, because then that'd be another revenue stream down the toilet. Melanie in the chat room says, Jay was just saying that he wished he had a shirt with Matt's face on it. Well, actually, now see my shirts. See, I've got these Matt Connerton Unleashed shirts, but that's not really.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
But that's like a representation of my. It's not my actual face. It's like me as an anime character.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Quite see it from here.
Yeah. Brendan McCormick. He. Very, very talented graphic artist who he designed the logo, and then we put it on the back of these shirts. And it's, I remember when he showed it to me, and he was like, he was a little bit sheepish about it. He didn't know if I was going to like it because it's a little outside the box. And I was never into anime, but I knew enough about it I recognized that there's an anime called Devil May Cry. And I only knew this because I used to work in a store that sold DVDs.
Okay.
So we had an anime section. So when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I love it.
And it's been around. I have to see this.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if the shirt might be a little faded, but
he's coming over for a first-hand look.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. And then Jenny had shirts made up, and that became the
we might have to steal that concept.
The official logo.
Oh yeah, we're going anime.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Nice.
Have at it. Oh, Mike from Queen City Cabinetry says my son has worn that T-shirt, Matt. It's his absolute favorite. Yes. And Mike was also asking about the songs I played. Do you guys all write together, or who writes the songs?
Yeah, I write everything. And then I submit it to Eric for approval. He throws it in the trash and rewrites everything in a more perfect sense.
The truth is, Carlo writes all of our bridges. No one is allowed to write a bridge unless Carlo has approved it. But so we it's every song is a little bit different. I mean, I'm a songwriter, and Mark, our bass player, is a songwriter, and so we both bring in a lot of ideas.
Yeah, and
some of them are more fully formed by the time they get to the band, and some of them aren't, and some of them sort of come together when we're together. But it's amazing. A lot of people say, I mean, we're joking around. A lot of people say drummers don't write, but it's amazing what. When Carlo lays down a pattern or rhythm, what that can do to kind of change the dynamic of a song and move it in a certain direction. So it's a very collaborative process, even though, we're the guys playing the guitars and singing the lyrics and writing some of the stuff. It doesn't work unless we do it together in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And the drums sound incredible, by the way. Where do you guys record? Because the drums really... Because not everyone gets that right when producing drums, but you can hear you can hear everything, every tom, I mean, it just sounds so good.
Yeah, it's true. We've been lucky to work with a couple of really good studios that really understand your point of making the drums sound good. You know, I mean, I'm obviously pretty biased towards the sound, but you know, when you're building a piece of music, it starts with the drums, right? And it starts with the drums and goes to the bass right away, because that's the foundation of it, you know. And so we've been lucky to have a couple of real good producers work with us and recording engineers that understand that and get they get a very good sound.
It's like the foundation of a house. I mean, truly, you can't have a good song the way we try to write songs unless the drums sound good. We've made that mistake, and we never want to make it again. And I think today, you know, with hip hop becoming such a big deal, you know, over the last 20 years, and so many contemporary songs relying very heavily on the rhythm and the groove, it's like that. You're hearing that, and you're hearing the lyrics and the rest of the stuff in some cases just sort of washed out in the middle.
Sure,
right?
sure,
So people are looking for the rhythm, and they're looking for the groove, and you got to get it right. But we typically we'll record with Dave Minahan down at Woolly Mammoth Studios in Waltham. Dave's
that's a name I've definitely heard.
Yeah, you have.
Dave is you know, he's a Boston legend. Really, we've been very fortunate that he's been willing to take us on. And but you know, he when Brad Whitford was not healthy, he was playing with Aerosmith, and he's played with the Replacements. He's a guitar player too.
Okay,
played with the Replacements, and but he's an amazing producer in his own right. He's a great musician. We're fortunate now that he's kind of playing with us, because he's actually on most of the songs that we're putting out now. In fact, he did a lot of the background vocals for one of the tunes that's coming out next month, which I'm excited to put out, called "That's the Way She Likes It," and it's kind of a song that draws on influences from some of the 80s and 90s stuff, but real heavy background vocals, which are very cool. So,
oh, wow.
Looking forward to that one. But it starts with the drums.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
How did you get to working with Minahan? What's his first name, Mike?
Dave
Minahan.
Dave.
He moved to Waltham from the Boston area many, many years ago, and I think it happened because I was reading a story about his move to this new studio, and it was just about the time I was getting ready to record my first batch of songs, and I was looking for some help, and I sent him my stuff, and I said, "What do you think?" Thinking that he would say either nothing or, or I don't think much. But fortunately, he said, "Hey, actually, that's pretty cool. Why don't you come down and we'll talk a little bit?" And I did, and that was the beginning. We did an EP that was again back in 2012. It took us a while to record that. Carlo knows we take too long to record, especially when I'm by myself. But it came out really well. The funny thing is, I went in with a completely different vision of what we ended up with. And at the end of the day, I don't know whether it's good or bad. You know, I was at the time actually going in more of a synthesizer, you know, type of direction. And Dave sort of brought it back to more of an acoustic guitar based, a little bit more of a classic sound, which worked really well for those songs. And he was probably right. But we've managed over the years to weave in some of the new stuff and keep some of the, you know, the more traditional organic sounds, acoustic guitars and electric guitars and that kind of stuff. But
there's a couple songs on that first album, though, that continually get requested at shows.
True.
So, I mean, it's funny. We've played them. It's an older piece, but it seems like they're the ones that, you know, people want to hear.
Yeah, those that have been around for a while, they remember some of those tunes. Pretty Good Day is the one that stands out to me that was on the first album that people tend to like. But we like the new stuff, too.
Yeah. Now, are you guys from Boston, or are you...
We are from the general area. We've sort of bounced back and forth between Boston and Southern New Hampshire. The band collectively, we've our members have sort of zigzagged around the area, so we kind of consider ourselves a greater Boston band. But right now we've got some roots in Southern New Hampshire, and but the area's been very good to us. We've we've kind of started in Manchester and sort of grew from there. You know, we have regular stuff we do now up in Burlington, and we've, you know, as Carlos said, we get down as far as Virginia. New York has been a more regular thing. We haven't been down there in a while.
Philadelphia.
Philly. We haven't had stuff to promote, but I think probably that's coming up in the not too distant future.
Cool. Very good. Well, actually, why don't we we'll take a break and play another track here. Let's see. You sent me... Oh, one of the things, you didn't send me this one, but you said there's a new single that came out recently?
I did. It's called I Don't Belong, and I thought I sent it to you.
Oh, you did send me that. Okay. No, you did. I'm sorry. I don't know why I for some reason I thought you had said something else, but my brain is mush sometimes. I probably have a...
Ours often is too.
Yes. We do some of our best work when our brain is mush.
Here we go.
Carlo does at least.
Here we go. I got it. Okay. Here it is. I like this one a lot too. This is really good. So let's do this. We'll give this a listen. If you're just joining us, we've got two of the guys, Eric and Carlo from the band Best Not Broken, are here with us live in studio, and we've been talking, and we're going to listen to another track here. So this is called I Don't Belong, and this is the newest single just within the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, just out 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks ago, I guess. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, check this out. I Don't Belong from Best Not Broken.
I'm walking in a homeroom, everybody boom boom. I see my kicking sideburns and watch the girlies' heads turn. I got my jeans pegged, mullet done with hairspray, rockin' new wave, copas and a fresh shave. I wanna be a rock star, pimpin' in my new car, hotties in the backyard, but I got nothing so far. Can I get up? 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 I don't belong. Everybody knows. Some rich guys flirted with a Veep's wife. Now I'm making French fries. I'm not a quick learn. Maybe it's the sideburns like 90210, but at least I made some heads turn. Can I get up? Can I get up? Can I get up? Can I get up? I don't belong. Everybody knows I don't belong. Steady as you go. I don't.
And joining us here live in studio, we have Eric and Carlo from the band Best Not Broken. And guys, that's very, very catchy. I caught myself singing along to it. So that probably happened. I would imagine when you play that at shows, you probably get people singing along, right?
It does. It gets a real good response, singing, clapping. I think the video actually, I think people that see the video might be amused because we released a video at the same time. Okay. And it's one of our. We're very proud of it because we look like absolute buffoons.
Well, I was going to say, let's be honest, it was absolutely ridiculous, fully ridiculous. But we sort of captured the essence of the song, I think.
Yeah, we did.
And it happened fast. I was shocked we were able to pull it together. But we would encourage your listeners, if they like that tune, to check out the video for I Don't Belong on YouTube. It's there, and
you'll get a good laugh
there and waiting for you.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, it's funny. That's another subject that's come up a lot on the show lately is videos, because there's some people, I don't know if you guys run into this at all. There's some people who have this perception that music videos are and a dead art form because, MTV hasn't played videos in decades. And it's like, it's funny, but I run into people who don't seem to realize that actually, because of YouTube, there's more music videos being made than ever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like when Beyonce puts out a new album, for example, she's got the money to do it. When she puts out a new album, every single song on the album has a video.
Right.
It's actually more than ever. So
I think people want to see that multimedia entertainment. They want to they want to get a bigger picture of what. Certainly, they want to see the artist. They're hoping to see the artist in the video, and it just provides a more multi-dimensional musical experience as opposed to just listening to music. I mean, and I think you might capture the interest a little more. Like people will listen to the entire song as opposed to when you're streaming.
That's a good point.
They're going to get a minute or so in and like, yeah, all right, move to the next one, move to the next one, move to the next one, click, 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 click. But a video, you're probably going to watch the whole thing.
It's an interesting phenomenon. I mean, as a musician now, that if you don't put a video out with a song, you're missing listeners or viewers, right? You're missing people that might otherwise see it.
Right.
But it's also interesting because it truly changes the dynamic of how people experience the song, right? Because in the old days, when there was no video, or now when there's no video, you come up with your own images, right?
Yeah.
But you're forced to follow the images that are put out in this video, which I think sometimes is great and sometimes not. But it's a new way of experiencing it for sure. Yeah.
It's funny though. It's like we're time traveling in a way, because this is the same conversation that people had when on shows like this, when MTV first went on the air.
Yeah, right.
And artists would talk about, now you're assigning these images to the video, to the song rather, which might be a good thing or might not. And
I still want to be on MTV. Can we still do that?
Yeah, I want my MTV.
Me too.
Wait, that sounds like a.
There must still be videos on there somewhere, right?
I'm sure there are.
There must be like a 20-minute video show or something somewhere on MTV. But yeah, reality television just completely took over I guess in the 90s, right? I think it's been that long.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we haven't done our own reality show yet. We're going to leave that one alone, I think.
How many videos have you guys shot?
What do you think, Carlo?
That's a good question, but there's enough to keep you busy.
Yeah, entertained for a while.
I would say probably 10.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe a little more. Some are more involved than others.
Yeah.
I know that the first one that I participated in was for Won't Stop Loving You, which was a very elaborate production and a very moving video. I would say that was the most emotional video that we've made. And if you put a bunch of people in a room, I guarantee you a bunch of them are going to be crying by the time they get to the end of that video. Wow. It's very, very touching. And it's a great song. We think so. But it's another one. It's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
It's from an earlier record, and they seem to love that song. So we like playing it. But so our videos range from serious to absolute insanity.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so.
Now, the videos, do you have someone you work with on those, or do you do them because
we do?
Okay, because I was going to say we live in an era where really you can do it all yourself. It's pretty remarkable.
You can if you're that talented. Yeah,
we're just not that.
We are
talented.
not that talented. No, we have helpers.
Yeah,
helpers are necessary for us.
Do you work with the same people on each? Have you worked with the same people on each video, or is there a production company you work
lately
with?
We have.
Yeah. We've there's a company called 106 Studios out of Boston that we've been using recently. Travis Gray has been the lead guy for us, and that's gone very well. We've used other people in the past, but Travis has been doing good work for us lately.
Excellent. And what are the live shows like? Do you guys do you have any you do any kind of elaborate stage show or anything, or do you just play, or any kind of theatrics, or do you save that for the videos?
Well, so we do a range of shows. We are primarily an original band, but we do shows where we'll mix covers into our shows. Some of them are more cover oriented. But really, the focus of what we do is original material.
Yeah.
But The reason I say that is because, some of these shows tend to be a little more grueling, like 3 hours long or 4 hours long. And the dynamic is a little bit different than a short and sweet, action-packed, true Best Not Broken original show. But we, one of the things we try to do is really have great energy when we put on a show. And we try and go out and leave it all on the stage. We're all athletes. And probably because we wish that we could still be as competitive as we once were. The only place we can do it is on the stage, and so we occasionally stub our toes and fall off of things. But we try to do lots of jumping.
Yep.
We hope that it's an engaging and action-packed show. It should be that.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I'm reminded of a story. Maybe we should share of I
don't know what story you're going to tell, so I don't know whether we should share or not.
We'll find out together.
It was a live concert we did at the Tupelo Music in Derry.
Nice.
And it was outdoors.
Yeah.
During the period where they were doing outdoor shows, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Which was very clever, quite frankly. Anyway, we headlined a show, and as Eric said, it's an action-packed show. I mean, the drummer just has to sit there most of the time, but the rest of the guys are moving around quite a bit on stage. And we had a choreographed piece of the show, remember, where we were doing some things. And the point of the story is it was about 150 degrees out, and the sun was hitting that stage, and you're driven by the music and the fan interact. It was a sold-out show, so a lot of people, and you're feeding off that energy, but at some point, it's just not enough. Right. It was so hot out.
Yeah.
I think we were all feeling a little faint. And there's a particular thing. You'll have to come to one of our shows. There's a particular thing we do at the end where this guy runs around, it just does something absolutely crazy, and it was great. We're watching the whole thing's happen, and people are applauding, blah 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 blah. And that's the end of the show. The encore's over. And we got to the back, you remember? And he was white as a sheet. I thought I literally thought he was going to pass out because he was so active and it was so hot out.
Yeah.
And you can't hydrate on stage, really. So, you're just giving it all. And that was quite a performance, I would say.
That was So I try to get a little exercise, and this is one of those times where I almost didn't make it back to the stage.
Wow.
And we've had a couple of those lately. In fact, we were down in Salisbury a few weeks ago, and I almost didn't make it back to the stage, which would have been terrible because you guys would have had to clean up all by yourself.
Yeah, somehow I feel like that was part of the plan.
It might have been. I was in the big band van.
Wow. I always say rock and roll should be sweaty, but you don't want, heat stroke or anything like that either.
No, definitely try to keep it as safe as we can.
I will tell you, our fabulous bass player who couldn't make it today with his broken toe carries a fan with him every show.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He has a fan set up because I think he sweats the most of all of us.
Oh my God!
And this fan is just always running. It doesn't matter. Well,
actually, the truth is we have levels of fan. I mean, he has his standard fan, but then we have a super hot show. We upgrade to the big fan, and then we can actually double fan if we have to double fan.
Oh.
I would say that the worst. So the one time when Mark was sweating so much, and there was nothing a fan could possibly do. The video that we shot for the song "Kids," which I think you played earlier, had Mark at the beginning in a kangaroo outfit. And at the end, he had to go because we ran out of time. And so I briefly had to play the kangaroo.
Oh.
And I put on the kangaroo outfit. And I couldn't feel the outfit because it was mush. It was it was mush. It was
sweating
probably
so
the most disgusting thing I've ever felt in my life.
God.
And so I no longer even will look at kangaroos.
But does it make you feel closer to him?
Not at all.
That you've worn,
I try to stay further away.
Now that you've worn his his sweat.
No, Mark, if you're listening, I'm actually currently trying to get further away from you.
Wow, that's funny. Eric, you ever do any radio or voiceover work or anything?
Never.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who's ever asked you that. I can't be the first one to ever ask you that.
It's possible you are. I'm not
really?
sure.
Wow.
No, I've never done it.
Because you've got the voice. Carlo, doesn't he have the voice?
You've got the voice for radio. Yes,
you think?
Definitely.
You've got one of those voices I'm actually jealous of. Because I'm very, I'm able to evaluate myself pretty honestly. I think I know I have a good radio voice, but you have a great radio voice. You've never done a podcast or anything?
Never done a podcast.
Wow.
No. No.
No car commercials?
can you-
narrating car commercials?
You should do a car commercial. That would be
Yes.
awesome.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
For real.
Definitely do
For
that.
real.
Well, we need a hit. Maybe we can find a hit in the auto commercial
Do like a little jingle.
realm. A
right?
jingle.
Like car commercial jingle.
Uh-huh. Can you auto tune in radio? Can you live auto tune in radio?
No. No, but I just imagine you narrating it. You know, you could narrate the
I've never
car
tried it. I
commercial.
mean,
Yeah.
I read books for people.
Do you? Yeah.
I do.
There you go.
Mostly my kids.
Yeah. Well, makes sense. They don't
People.
they don't tell you they love your voice?
They've never said that. They're usually mad at me because it's bedtime, and it's
they're-
like, Dad, what are you doing?
Right.
Don't put us to bed.
No, they're used to it. Used to your voice. JFed in the chat says, do you play birthday parties?
I think we have done parties.
Well, remember the
think we
time
have-
I jumped out of that cake?
Oh, I do
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
Oh.
Different story.
We do we do private events occasionally. Most of
Yeah.
what we do is in support of our music, but we do private
Yeah.
events occasionally. Yep.
So he's been asking, he's been looking for someone to play his wife's birthday party, Melanie's birthday party.
Cool.
I believe it's in September. Now, the thing is, I should tell you, though, in case you do get...
You take a commission, I know.
No, it's not that. He might try to get you to commit to, if you're going to go up there, to commit to an ice bath.
Oh,
So I thought I should mention that just to kind of warn you
all right.
that might be part of the deal.
Okay.
And I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't do it. Hypothermia, things like that. Apparently, there are health benefits, but I'm just worried about freezing to death. So I personally wouldn't do it, but I think I should
Interesting.
forewarn you guys.
Ice bath.
Yeah. It's something he does, and he invites people into the ice bath, apparently.
Okay.
So just something to keep in mind.
Gig/ice bath.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it could come to that. So
Okay.
just so you know.
We'll have to get our manager involved.
Definitely.
There you go. By the way, Miriam Banish in the chat room says, like the harmony, referring to the song that we played there, the single.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah.
What do you guys? So the vocals, do you guys all sing, or how does that work?
I definitely don't.
You don't.
Oh,
okay.
No, he's being modest. He does
okay.
actually sing. In fact, we've had some gigs where he'll take the lead and do some crazy stuff. But truth be told, the harmonies are actually a very important part of our sound. And Mark and I really enjoy writing harmonies and singing harmonies, and that's something we focus on. And it's part of most of the songs that you hear
Yeah.
from us.
No, I noticed that. But Carlo, you sing live with the guys, I assume, or?
Very seldom.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
I've got a lot of work to do. I'm very busy back there.
He is a busy guy.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's the thing. I had a band on recently with a singing drummer where the drummer did the lead vocals.
Yeah.
And that's something you very
yeah.
rarely see.
Uh-huh.
But it's such a physical instrument. So to have to play drums and sing, even just doing backing vocals, it must be.
It's got to be hard to do.
'Cause
I
you're
think it
using-
would be tough. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how they do it. You know, they sing a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could do it.
Really?
I don't think I can do it.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't think I can sing well, and but it's a lot of work, to
Yeah.
keep focused on that, and just have the musician stuff just kind of happen automatically, so you can focus on the singing.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit of work. It's impressive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're quite talented, those two.
Yeah.
Anna and I just sit back and play music.
We had a show, actually. It was actually at Blue Ocean Music Hall where we featured Carlo and Anand singing.
That's right, we did.
Who was that? I think that might have been when we were with the Gin Blossoms.
Gin
perhaps.
Blossoms, I think it was. Yeah.
And actually, that was the last show where we ever allowed them to sing publicly together.
Imagine that.
Really? Yeah.
So that should tell you something there.
You guys played with the Gin Blossoms, huh?
We did a
We
few
did
shows
several
with those
shows with
guys.
them.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Several. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that being a good.
Yep,
being
it was a good
pairing.
fit.
Yeah.
Good fit.
But I guess too, though, with your sound, I mean, there's probably a lot of different bands you fit well with. I would think, your sound it's very accessible, very radio friendly, but also
Sure.
there's a mix of influences in there. The song "Kids" is like I said, I opened with that today. That's so catchy. But it seems like everything is, it's very sort of, you've got those sing along choruses that really hook people in. And who can you tell me who's a band that you've are there any bands that you've opened for that were kind of maybe you went into it thinking, I don't know if we fit? Has there been any kind of an odd match that you've had with a band that you've opened for?
Well, yes, I would say so. So I think Smashing Pumpkins will be interesting because the more I listen to them, the more I realize that they're much heavier than
Yeah.
than really we are now. Back in the day, we were writing more rock oriented stuff, and now I kind of consider our stuff sort of indie pop.
Yeah.
And so it's veering away from that. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But we used to occasionally play Bike Week, and we've never been a biker band, right? And we went up there thinking they're going to throw us out of here, and actually there are a lot of people that dug our stuff. So I've learned you can't make that judgment going into it. But probably the other one that was a weird fit was Jason Derulo.
Oh, no kidding! Yeah,
it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
but we were asked to come play with him, and it was just as he was like, at his prime, and it was weird, but it sort of was fine. It sort of went okay. Like,
I can see it working though.
Can you?
Yeah, because I'm trying to think now. Oh, I'm drawing a blank. What was his really big hit?
I don't even remember.
Because I don't
know.
He had more than one single that did well, but there was one that was huge, and I can't remember what it was now either. That he had a short shelf life. I think he had come and gone pretty quick.
He did,
but I can see that working. Because again, your sound is so accessible that obviously a lot of different kinds of people are going to like it. Is that something you do consciously, like in terms of writing and recording the music? Is it do you consciously try to make songs that with good hooks and big sort of sing along choruses?
I think that every songwriter probably gravitates to something. There's something that as you're noodling around on your guitar or humming melodies or whatever it may be, there's something that catches you about it.
Yeah.
And I find for me, it's I think I grew up listening to pop radio, and from all eras, I enjoyed all of it, and so I think those melodies stick with me, and those are the things I find I won't write a song unless I feel like there's a catchy melody that's going to draw you in somewhere in the song, and so that's usually the basis of it, and then you try to build around it.
Well, we are approaching the end of the show. I do want to get one more song in at the end, but guys, this has been wonderful. Thank you both so much.
Thanks for having us, Matt. Yeah,
absolutely,
much appreciated.
Absolutely. And what do you want to make sure our listeners know about where to find you online, social media, anything, website?
We are everywhere. We get that question sometimes, where can I find your music? And I think my answer is where can't you? I mean,
you should be able.
We're literally on every streaming platform. We're on YouTube with the videos. We've got our website, bestnotbroken.com.
Bestnotbroken.com, yeah. That's kind of headquarters.
I'm trying to think of what else.
All the basic stuff. I mean, we're probably most active on Instagram and Facebook and that kind of stuff, and we keep updates on our
hit
website.
us up on Instagram.
Yeah.
We'd love to, have somebody, make a comment. We like responding and interacting with our fans. It's great fun for us, and if you've seen us at a show or you want to see us at a show, give us a little shout out, and we'll let you know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And do you have any shows coming up this weekend that you want to plug?
We're in Vermont this weekend, right?
Yeah, we're playing up in Burlington, Vermont, a place called Red Square. It's an outdoor show. Get there early because it fills up fast.
Yeah.
And especially if the weather's nice, I should say. If it's raining,
true.
Doomsday.
Yeah.
But it hasn't rained much this summer, so we should be okay.
That's why Carlo is wearing his red shorts. He has these on all week, same pair.
Yeah.
He can't take them off until the show. That's our deal.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Alrighty. Well, that's your business.
It is. Oh, Matt, you have to close with that, right?
Sure is.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you again so much. Mike from Queen City Cabinetry says, awesome guest today, Matt. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much. And we will end with this track. This is called Lowlights. This is kind of a little darker. Yeah,
it's a different tune. This is a Mark tune. This is one of the new singles that's coming out on our new EP.
Very good. Oh, when is that out, by the way, the EP?
Well, it was supposed to be soon, and it's been pushed back a little, but I would expect it shortly after Labor Day. So check our social media. It won't be long.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to end with this. This is, thanks again, guys. And this is Lowlights from the band Best Not Broken. Check this out.
Such a try
right. Let it get a